Firstly, in the bottom right, the most uncompromising and the most intelligent, the Rickest Rick, is arguably our good friend C-137 Rick.
Wait, the Rickest Rick is apathetic? Is that why he kept Morty alive all this time, killed the bean that sexually harassed him, fused with his other half to save Morty, and erases Morty's memories for traumatic experiences? Yeah, very apathetic. Hello interwebs, I'm Eric and welcome to TheLooneyTurtle. Now when it comes to this chart, I completely understand that this was made before the new season, but it's gotten me thinking, so I personally believe that the C-137 Rick and Morty falls more near the middle, with both being a similar degree of empathetic and apathetic. This season we've been able to see that Rick cares about his grandson, but in the grand scheme of things he tries to hide it.
Pickle Man, it's too late for me to tell my daughter I love her, but not for you.
Oh, well, she knows. I mean, we don't really buy into that kind of crap.
They don't believe in expressing emotions, but that doesn't mean that they don't hold them. It kinda reminds me of my own family. While we may care about each other, most of my brothers don't really express that love very often. It's a mutually understood thing rather than a verbalized feeling. Rick seems to believe that his empathy is a weakness, as seen in the episode Rest and Ricklaxation, where Gooey? Let's call him Flawed Rick. That works. Flawed Rick cares about Morty, while the main Rick doesn't care either way, meaning that Rick is empathetic, but he tries to avoid making it known because he sees it as a weakness that can be exploited. The best way to avoid letting your enemies know your weakness is to make it hard for them to understand. He even does a good job at hiding his pain. At this point, everyone has to know the true meaning of wubba lubba lub dub. It's not just a catchphrase, it's the truth. Rick is in a lot of pain, but he's able to make even his grandson doubt it. The same can be said about if he truly loves Morty, because he always leaves you questioning. On the other side of the spectrum, Morty has been seen more near the middle as well, slightly favoring empathy. There are a couple of events that made him less empathetic due to how he realized his place in the universe. Almost saving Fart led him to question whether or not every living thing is worth saving. Burying himself was a traumatic experience that helped him realize how meaningless his life really was. In the more recent episodes, we've been able to see how he's still a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to empathy versus apathy. He's willing to kill person after person in a post-apocalyptic world, but then grows attached to his arm by the end of the episode. It shows his willingness to connect to some characters, such as his grandfather, sister, and the arm, while being apathetic to his victims. The same apathy could be seen back in the Purge episode, when they established that Morty was actually going overboard in that suit of armor he was wearing.
But how would that make them the Mortiest Morty and the Rickest Rick if they're in the middle of the chart?
They're still extremes of each other, and can still be differentiated from the crowd of Ricks and Mortys. The Council of Rick sees Rick as a bit of an outsider, and it's later established that one of his many flaws is that he can be empathetic or grow attached. He's still a terrorist, like every Rick is, but he's special in the sense that he isn't following the rules set by a council or government, and he genuinely cares about his grandson. Morty has also been seen as a character that stands out from his multiverse counterparts, guiding his kind to defeat evil Rick. They both don't fit directly into their groups, which kinda supports the claim that they are the best iterations of themselves.
Killing people, ignoring laws, you know, the best iterations of themselves.
Fair enough. I guess they're more like the most complete versions of themselves.
With that said, how does Evil Morty fit into this?
Given how little we've seen of him, it's kinda hard to say, but I see him as very apathetic and in the middle when it comes to his intelligence. He's been able to figure out some of the concepts that Rick's dabbled with in the past without being able to make something more efficient. He can be very clever and seems to have a plan for Rick, but his motive remains a little obscure. I think that he is the Morty that Rick abandoned before going back to Beth.
What makes you say that?
Well, in Close Rick Counters of the Rick Kind, it starts out with a simple introduction that the 1-year anniversary to Rick's return into Beth's life is tomorrow, and then he gets killed. But after the intro, Rick C-137 remarks that,
Oh, I get it. Regular pancakes are already shaped like flying saucers.
which really gets me thinking about how the central finite curve works. That's something for another video. With this callback to the first scene, it seems like our Rick went through the same conversation at one point leading up to this day. Why would Evil Morty choose to frame Rick and set all of this into motion on the 1-year anniversary? For me, it's because that's the day that Rick left him to either rot or continue living in a Rickless world. He's also a little bit more ambitious and kinda cocky compared to the other Mortys. Perhaps he's Rick's experience with how
A cocky Morty can lead to some big problems. Can be a real bad thing for everybody.
he could easily be the Morty that solidified that belief.
But what's he planning?
I'm not sure. He obviously hates Rick for some unexplained reason, but he doesn't want to outright kill him just yet. He obviously killed a variation of our Rick in another reality, but he's saving our Rick for a later date. With him now being the head of the Citadel, he's certainly got a lot of resources available, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. For now, what do you guys think? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below, and while you're at it, why not ring that bell and become a member of our Loonification squad today? With all that out of the way, I hope to see all of you in the next video.